You look like you love me.
For years, Ella Langley was playing small bars across the South, chasing the same dream as thousands of other artists trying to make it in country music. Late nights, tiny crowds, long drives home wondering if any of it was actually going to work. Because the truth is, most artists never make it out of that stage. But somewhere along the way, people started realizing Ella Langley wasn't blending in with everyone else. The voice, the confidence, the attitude. There was something about her that felt impossible to ignore. And before long, one of country music's fastest rising new stars was suddenly everywhere. This is the story of the artists, songs, and moments shaping country music. This is Country Current. Long before the sold-out shows and growing spotlight, Ella Langley was growing up in the small town of Hope Hull, Alabama. It's the kind of place where country music is simply part of everyday life. Back roads, small bars, local concerts, Southern storytelling. And from an early age, Ella stood out. She had a personality that was loud, confident, funny, and completely unapologetic. But underneath all of that was also a raw honesty that people connected with quickly. And like a lot of artists chasing country music careers, Ella eventually started playing anywhere she could. Small venues, bars, local shows across Alabama and the South. For years, she was grinding through the kind of schedule most people never see behind the scenes. Long drives, small payouts, late nights, constant uncertainty. But slowly, the audience started growing. And while a lot of artists were carefully trying to build an image, Ella Langley came across like somebody who genuinely didn't know how to be anything other than herself. The Southern accent, the humor, the attitude, the messy honesty in her music. Nothing about it felt overly polished or calculated. And over time, that became one of the biggest reasons people started paying attention to her in the first place. For a long time, Ella Langley was still trying to break through in an industry where thousands of artists were chasing the exact same dream. And like most of them, there were probably plenty of moments where success still felt very far away. But little by little, more people started discovering her music online. Clips from live performances started spreading across social media. Fans connected with her personality just as much as the songs themselves. And the more people listened, the more obvious it became that Ella Langley had a style that stood out from a lot of newer artists entering country music at the time. There was confidence in the music, humor, attitude. But underneath all of it, there was also vulnerability that made people feel connected to her almost immediately. And as her audience continued growing, bigger opportunities started appearing. Tours got larger. Online numbers kept climbing. More people inside the country music world started paying attention. Then suddenly, everything changed. Songs like "You Look Like You Love Me" exploded online and introduced Ella Langley to an entirely new audience almost overnight.
Excuse me, you look like you love me.
At the same time, her chemistry and collaborations with Langley3 started getting massive attention across social media. Suddenly, clips of performances, interviews, and duets were everywhere online. And at that point, Ella Langley wasn't just becoming another rising artist anymore. She was becoming one of the most talked about new names in country music. As Ella Langley's popularity continued growing, one thing became very clear very quickly. People weren't just listening to the music. They were becoming fans of her personality. In interviews, on stage, and online, Ella came across the same way she did in her songs. Funny, confident, unfiltered, sometimes chaotic, but always genuine. And in a genre where fans care deeply about authenticity, that connection started turning into something much bigger. Her concerts kept getting larger. Social media clips spread constantly online, and collaborations with other major artists helped introduce her to even more listeners across country music. But what really separated Ella Langley from a lot of other rising artists was the balance in her music. One moment, her songs could feel loud, sarcastic, and full of attitude. Then the next moment, they could become emotional, vulnerable, and surprisingly personal. That range made people feel like they were getting to know a real person instead of just a public image. And as her audience kept growing, Ella Langley started becoming more than just another viral country artist. She was becoming a genuine star. But as Ella Langley's career kept growing, so did the attention surrounding her. And in modern country music, attention can become overwhelming very quickly. Every interview, every social media post, every relationship rumor, every live performance. Suddenly, thousands of people were watching and reacting to almost everything she did. At the same time, expectations started growing just as fast as her audience. Fans wanted more music, bigger tours, bigger moments. And the pressure to keep that momentum going never really slowed down. But through all of it, Ella Langley continued leaning into the same personality that helped people connect with her in the first place. The humor, the confidence, the unpredictability. Even as the crowds grew larger, she still talked and acted like the same person fans discovered years earlier online, and that became a huge part of her appeal. Because for a lot of fans, Ella Langley still felt relatable, like somebody you could realistically picture hanging out with after a concert somewhere in the South. And that kind of connection is difficult to create, but incredibly powerful once artists have it. By the mid-2020s, Ella Langley had gone from playing small bars across the South to becoming one of the fastest rising names in country music. And what made her rise so interesting was that it never really felt forced. It felt organic. Fans discovered her music, connected with her personality, and kept following the journey as everything around her continued getting bigger. The tours, the crowds, the attention online, the collaborations, the opportunities. At the same time, Ella Langley also became part of a larger shift happening inside country music itself. A new generation of female artists was starting to build audiences in completely different ways than previous eras of country music. Social media mattered more, personality mattered more, and fans wanted artists who felt relatable just as much as they wanted hit songs. Ella fit perfectly into that moment. Not because she was trying to become the next version of somebody else, but because she felt completely comfortable being herself. And as her momentum continued growing, the industry itself started taking notice too. When Choos'n Texas earned Song of the Year honors, it felt like one of the first major moments where the entire industry officially caught up with what fans had already known for years.
Just when I thought I got him to fall in love with Tennessee.
Ella Langley was no longer just a rising artist. She had officially become one of the biggest new stars in country music. And as her career kept growing, it became more and more obvious that Ella Langley wasn't just having a viral moment. She was building something that looked built to last. Ella Langley's rise didn't happen overnight. It came from years of playing small shows, chasing opportunities, and slowly building a connection with fans who saw something special in her from the very beginning. And maybe that's what makes her story stand out. Because in an industry where trends come and go quickly, Ella Langley never really felt like she was trying to fit into somebody else's version of what a country star was supposed to be. She felt like herself. Loud sometimes, messy sometimes, emotional sometimes, but always honest. And somewhere along the way, that honesty started connecting with more and more people across country music. What started in small bars across Alabama and the South eventually turned into sold-out crowds, millions of streams, and one of the fastest rising careers in the genre. And if the last few years are any indication, Ella Langley's story may only be getting started. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like and subscribe for more stories about the artists, songs, and moments shaping country music. This is Country Current.